Good morning. The period of enlightenment, since 1872 up to 1896. After 3 years of passivity under the Spanish rule, the Filipino spirit reawakened when the three priests, Gomez, Burgos, and Zamora, were guillotined without sufficient evidence of guilt. This occurred on 70th of February. This was buttressed with the spirit of liberalism when the Filipinos opened its doors to the world trade, and with the coming of liberal leaders in the person of government Carlos Maria de la Torre. The Spaniards were unable to suffer the tide of rebellion among the Filipinos. This one's religious spirit transforms itself into our of nationalism, and the Filipinos demanded change the government and the church. A propaganda movements 1872 until 1896. These movements was paired mostly by the intellectual middle class like Jose Rizal, Marcelo H. del Pilar, Graciano Lopez Haina, Antonio Luna, Mariano Ponce, Jose Mapanginiban, and Pedro Paterno. The propaganda movement was the first Filipino nationalism movement led by a Filipino elite and inspired by a proto-nationalist activism of figures such as Jose Burgos, and by his execution and hands of colonial authorities. Propagandists were largely young men, often mestizo and crueles, whose families could afford to send them to study in Spanish activities in Madrid and Barcelona. There they encountered the Enlightenment through individual rights, constitutionalism, and anti-clericalism. The objectives of these movements were to seek reform and change like the following: to get equal treatment for the Filipinos and the Spaniards under the law, to make the Filipinos a colony of Spain, to restore Filipino representation in the Spanish courts, to Filipinize parishes, to give Filipino speech of the press, assembly, and for redress of grievance. The highlights of propaganda movement. These principles leader of the propaganda movement. They were Jose Rizal, Marcelo H. del Pilar, and Graciano Lopez Haina. Here are the highlights about them and they have done for our country. First, Dr. Jose Rizal. Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado Alonzo y Realonda was born on June 19, 1861 at Calamba, Laguna. His first teacher was his mother, Teodora Alonso. He studied at the Ateneo de Manila, and studied medicine at UST and finished at Universidad Central of Madrid. He also studied at the University of Berlin, Leipzig, and Heidelberg. He died by musketry in the hands of the Spaniards on December 30, 1896, on charge of sedition and rebellion against the Spaniards. His pen name was Laong Laan and Dimasalang. The second one is Marcelo H. del Pilar. Marcelo H. del Pilar is popularly known for his pen name of Plaridel Putdo Piping Dilat and Dolores Manapal. He was born at Kupang, San Nicolas, Bulacan on August 30, 1850. His parents were Julian H. Del Pilar, noted Filipino writer, and Biasa Gatmaita. His brother was priest, Father Toribio Del Pilar, who was banished to Marianas in 1872 because there were many children in the family. Marcelo cut up his share of his inheritance for his other brothers and sisters. Marcelo started schooling at the school of Mr. Flores and then transferred to the San Jose before UST. His last year in law school was interrupted for 8 years after he had quarreled with a parish during a baptism in San Miguel, Manila in 1880. And the last one is Graciano Lopez Haina, a most notable hero and genius of the Philippines. Graciano Lopez Haina was born on December 18, 1856 and died on January 20, 1896. The pride of Haro Iloilo, he won the admiration of the Spaniard and Europeans. He is known writer and orator in the Philippines. He wrote 100 speeches which were published by Remigio Garcia, former bookstore owner in Manila Flatica, and which are still read up to by modern Filipinos. And that's all. Thank you.